Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Digital Den mini class. This is part 3 to our Intro to Adobe Audition series. Today, we are going to be going over some effects, namely mostly the pitch function, the reverb function, and the noise reduction function, as well as a couple of other general effects that you can use to be able to modify your audio. So let's get into it. All right, here we are back in Adobe Audition, a completely clean window here with no projects already open. We are going to be starting 3 different projects so that we can test all of these different effect functions individually. So let's start things off by clicking our new audio file button here, and we're going to be naming this one pitch shifting. Okay. We're going to go ahead and hit OK on that, and we're going to start our record. This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of any of that excess audio like we talked about in the last lesson. So we're just going to highlight it and then delete. Highlight and then delete, and we've got just our general audio that we are going to be working with here. We're going to double click on everything so that we can highlight everything there. We're going to go up here to effects, and then today we are going to first be looking at time and pitch. There are a number of different functions on here, but the one I mainly use is called pitch shifter. This will allow for us to be able to adjust our pitch in a number of different ways. There are preset options there for you to be able to sound like Angry Gerbil, Deathly Ill, Stretch, or the Dark Lord on there. But honestly, I don't think that leaving it in custom makes it particularly complicated. So semitones, this is dropping you down an entire octave, essentially. And then sense, this means that you are going to be dropping down a fraction of an entire octave. So if I start out at 0 and then I drop down to -50, for example, I'm going down a half of an octave instead of if it were at 100, then it would be at a full. But I could use I could leave this back at 0, and then I could drag this down to -1, and it would be the exact same if this was to -100, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and the ratio will adjust itself as you move things around there. So don't worry about the ratio, and we will go ahead and get things started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just listen to our audio clean here so that we can get an idea of how that is going to sound. This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower. Okay, so hitting this play button will give us a playback of everything that we've changed in our pitch shifting function. We have left everything at 0, so nothing has changed yet. But let's go ahead and drop this just 2 semitones down and see how that sounds. This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower. So you can tell my voice has dropped a couple of octaves there. Now let's go ahead and jump it up to the next one. Let's see. So we'll go up to 2 to see how it sounds higher.
This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower.
Now, if I felt like that sound was almost what I was looking for, but not quite there, then I could go into the sense and I could say, okay, I want like 25% more in that area, and then it would just be 25% higher, basically, right, up to 100, which would then be essentially the same as going up to 3. So now I typically don't recommend when using the pitch function to go too far, because sometimes it can make your audio sound a little wacky, but just so that we can show you what it would sound like if we dropped it all the way as low as you can go. Let's see how that sounds. So this is showing us super deep bassy audio, right? It sounds like we're like deep throat kind of thing where you know, maybe we're playing a character that is like you know, a kidnapper or something like that, and we're like you know, getting our ransom money or something like that over the phone, right? Maybe that's the kind of character that we're playing there. Let's jump it all the way up to the top there and see how it sounds super high.
This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower.
So maybe we're playing like an Alvin and the Chipmunks sort of situation there, and we want just like a super like high pitch, just like ee kind of voice, right? But yeah, pitch shifting, not super duper complicated there, and you can mess around with that, have some fun going higher or lower in whatever that you were trying to do. Generally, I like to stick around like the 3-point mark there. I think that my voice, I like the sound of my own voice. You know, I worked in radio for a long time, so of course I heard it a lot. But I do wish that my voice sometimes were a little bit lower, and I feel like just 3 down, semitones down would oh man, that would be great, right?
This recorded audio is to test the pitch shifting function to make our voice higher or lower.
But maybe that's why I'm not like a movie announcer, right? Because my voice isn't that low. So, all right, so we're gonna hit apply on that, and it does not change the waveforms a whole lot, but it does adjust them a little bit to be able to make our effect happen. And that is the long and short of pitch shifting. So let's go ahead and open up a new file here, a file new, audio file. And next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna test noise reduction. So we're gonna go ahead and name it that. We're gonna hit OK on that. All right, so now that we've got our noise reduction file here, I am going to use this fan here in the background to demonstrate how some bad quality noise can really impact some things. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this fan right up here next to my microphone, and I'm going to turn this thing on full blast. So you should be able to hear. Got some papers that's blowing here. I'm going to move that out of the way. All right, so you should be able to hear that. And if you look when I'm not talking here at the wave file here, at the waveform, you should be able to see that like on the right-hand side, we've got a smooth line. But when I'm not talking, there is some background noise happening here. So just watch that. You see that there? You see how the levels are still going up? All right, so I'm going to record some audio using this, and let's see if we can try to remove that fan noise. This is a test of the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition. Let's see if we can remove the fan. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. I'm going to turn the fan off, move that away. All right, and let's see if we can remove that sound there. So, you know, getting my microphone here nice and close to our speakers so we can see if we can hear how that sounds. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of everything early in this. Well, actually, before I do that. So one of the things that you're going to have to do with noise reduction is you're going to have to do what's called capturing your noise print. So you have to highlight your piece that you want to get rid of, and then you got to come up here to Effects, Noise Reduction and Restoration, and then Capture Noise Print. Okay, and now it's going to give you this alert that says the current audio selection will be captured and loaded as a noise print for use next time the noise reduction effect is launched. Go ahead and hit OK on that. And then let's get rid of everything that we're not working with there. We just need that end piece of audio. Okay, and let's listen and see how that sounds. This is a test of the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition. Let's see if we can remove the fan. So it's really loud in the background, at least to my ears. There's just a loud fan sound going on in the background. And let's see if we can get rid of that to be able to you know, make this sound a little bit nicer. So we're going to come up here to Effects, down to Noise Reduction and Restoration, and then we're going to do Noise Reduction. So we've got a few different things that pop up here immediately. We've got 2 or 3 different colors of bars here that we're working with. We've got the yellow bar, which is the high end of our noise. We've got the red bar, which is the low end of our noise. And then, of course, we've got the green bar, which is our threshold, meaning this is how much that we're going to punch our noise reduction into our audio piece there. Okay. There's a couple other functions down here that we can mess around with. We can adjust the reduce by function here. We can adjust the percentage that reduce function is working. Let's leave that reduce function percentage at 50%, and let's drop this down to about 16 decibels. Let's type that in there. That'll be easier than adjusting the slider. And then let's adjust the green bar so that it is pretty close to our yellow bar there. Okay, there we go. And let's hit play on that. This is a test of the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition. Let's see if we can remove the fan. So it looks like the fan is still there in the background. So we may have to increase the noise reduction a little bit more. So a couple ways we'll do that is we will increase where this is here. We'll bring the green up above the yellow. And we will increase the reduce by, well, let's jump that to 20 and let's see how that sounds. This is a test of the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition. Let's see if we can remove the fan. So it sounds to me like we've pretty well removed it. So now watch this section right here of the audio that is purely just the fan and see how that changes as I apply this. Boom. See, now we've got a crisp, clean line right there of just nothing. And then as I play the audio back, the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition, let's see if we can remove the fan. And that actually sounds pretty good. Now, you're going to have to mess around with the noise reduction function quite a bit to be able to get it so that it is pleasing to your ears there, because you can't just crank it all the way to 100, 100%, crank this all the way to max, and hit apply and anticipate that it's going to sound good, because what happens there, and I'll play the audio for you here in a second so you can see, it removes not only the background noise, but it removes like every bit of ambience that makes your audio feel real, so let's listen to that. This is a test of the noise reduction function here on Adobe Audition. Let's see if we can remove the fan. It doesn't sound right when you remove too much. So it takes a little bit of finesse to be able to get it so that it removes the background without impacting your own voice in a negative way. If that makes sense, okay? All right, so that's noise reduction, and there are quite a few other options in the noise reduction category there. So go ahead and play around with that some more on your own. And our final one that we're going to be looking at here today is called Reverb. Let's go ahead and load up a file for our Reverb. This is going to be a test to show off the reverb function. Let's see if we can change the size of our room, or at least the way that it sounds. So reverb, I like to think of it as, like I mentioned in the record there, changing the size of the room that you're in. So if you are in a bathroom, it'll sound one way. If you're in an auditorium, it'll sound another way. If you're outside, it'll sound a third way. So what you can do is you can hit effects, come on down to reverb, and then I like just their standard reverb function. The nice thing is that there are quite a few different preset options for us there to be able to change how everything is going to sound. So we've got bigger room ambience. So let's try that out and see how that's going to make things sound. This is going to be a test to show off the reverb function. Let's see if we can change the size of our room, or at least the way that it sounds. Yeah, so that is, it obviously sounds like we're in a big room, right? There's nothing in it. Our audio is bouncing off the walls everywhere. It is very echoey in here. That reverb is super strong with the bigger room there. So let's see some of the other functions here. Let's do general room ambience, and let's see how that sounds different. This is going to be a test to show off the reverb function. Let's see if we can change
the size of our room, or at least the way that it sounds.
So I would say that this sounds a lot more like if you're in a, if you've ever been to like an open house for like a showing and there's no furniture in there. I would say that room ambience sounds like you're in like a living room that doesn't have any couches or chairs to be able to absorb some of that audio, because the way that sound travels is it bounces off of hard surfaces and it slows its path on soft surfaces. So if you've got lots of furniture around that's got like, nice and soft places for us to sit down, that's going to absorb a lot of that that noise. And then so that's, reverb is something that happens more frequently when you're in a room that does not have that. Okay, let's try one more here. Let's do just the standard default option there. Actually, I don't see a lot of difference in the change between that and room ambience. A little bit there. It's adjusting the dry and the wet tones there. Let me tell you about the output level. So the output level, we've got two functions here. We've got dry and wet. Dry is your unprocessed audio. We can adjust the overall volume of our audio using the dry function here. So it's currently set to 80%. We could increase that volume to 200% and see how that sounds.
This is going to be a test to show off the reverb function. Let's see if we can change.
So, but without playing the rest of the clip there, you can see that it is louder by looking at the levels here, and of course by hearing that as well. Now we can adjust the wet function. Now this is your processed audio. This is making it so that the characteristics that we have up here at the top are impacting our audio more greatly. So we can do that. Let's crank that up to 500% and see how that changes things.
This is going to be a test to show off the reverb function. Let's see if we can change the size of our room, or at least the way that it sounds.
So yeah, obviously the wet function affects things very greatly, right? So keeping that on the lower end is going to add a little bit of reverb, but not nearly as much. And so adjusting the wet function is going to be something that is going to be the thing that most greatly changes how much echoey kind of reverb that we have here in this. Okay. So that is your reverb function. So we've gone through pitch shifting, noise reduction, and then of course reverb as well. One of the things that we have not talked about is our favorites category here. There are quite a few different options here to be able to adjust things fairly easily. So if you've already got it set up in mono, you can click convert to stereo, and that's just going to add that secondary track on there to be able to make it a stereo option. You can have a fade in or a fade out, which is pretty interesting. Let me demonstrate how the fade in and fade out works. So firstly, I'm going to increase the overall volume here so that we are a little bit louder, so we can impact this a little bit more. So we can do a fade in by selecting the area that we want to fade in on here. And we can either grab this little box here and then drag and drop our little fade in there like that. We can adjust the curve of our fade function. Or we can just hit this favorites function, just hit fade in, and it's going to give us a standard diagonal slope on our fade in. Now it's going to be the fade out function is exactly the same as the fade in, except of course you would use that at the end there. A couple of standard normalize functions there are to normalize your voice to a certain volume level, and then a couple of other functions there. So definitely check out the favorites options and play around a little bit more with the reverb, noise reduction, and the time and pitch functions to see if you can create a unique sound for your voice that you find interesting. So that is going to do it for this week's lesson of Adobe Audition. Make sure that you stick around for next week's lesson, as we will be back and we are going to be talking about the multi-track function, allowing for us to layer a variety of different audio tracks, and we can add effects to them and do other things there. This, in my opinion, the multi-track is the most complicated function, so we are going to be saving that for the end. But this will be the final part of our series. If you have more questions about Adobe Audition, make sure that you stop by the Digital Den anytime during our open hours, and we'd be happy to chat with you about that, okay? All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.